society is a very interesting module or palette or feature that exists on Kusama. Basically, it's a group that is incentivized to collect members into the group and have those members participate in maintaining the society. So imagine a group of people who, if you can recruit other people who will also recruit other people and maintain and vote and participate in this society, that everyone will get rewarded as a result.
The society is based around this idea of a proof of ink, which is basically a tattoo. And it's designed as a strong signal that is not about money. Most things in blockchain ultimately boil down to economic, in a very financial sense of the word, incentivization.
And this is really an interesting experiment, because if you think about it, every group kind of has like a leader or some kind of person who is the head of that group. And we do have words like that in this society, but there really is no one person who can make radical changes to the society working.
And yeah, this is where this tattoo comes in. It's a non-financial signal of the strength of one's belief, and it ties into both oracles and actuators. So we have both, we're actuating in that we are incentivizing this particular action to happen, this getting a tattoo. And we're oracleizing in that we use the existing members to vote on whether indeed the tattoo has happened. It combines some other things. This notion of a random number generator, so a degree of luck is involved with the selection of at each point who is the new head of the chain. It's also an interesting riff on the idea of a blockchain, in that it's a human blockchain. Every new member references the past member or a past member, one of the most recent people to get a tattoo. And so we end up with a sort of potentially a set of people all linking up to each other, spanning the world.
I think of the society as kind of like an alliance between the human and the machine, right? I strongly feel that the dichotomy natural artificial doesn't exist anymore in our reality. Not in the society reality, but in general, in our communities, in the communities we live, this doesn't happen anymore. And we need to start seeing ourselves as cyborgs, right? In the concepts of Haraway, for example. And so for me, the society is an initial representation of this alliance between humans and machines. In practical terms, I envision the society to be a pool of people, a pool of humans that make use of treasury through proposals in order to finance projects that will benefit the community.
Society module is very important because naturally people will create groups. There will be natural groups that will form on chain, and people will want to make decisions. And these decisions don't have to be bound to the council or even to the whole chain. So I think the ability to create these groups on chain and benefit from the whole security, decentralization, and so on is super critical. And I'm sure we're going to see lots of funny ideas and we'll have lots of fun with these kind of things.
A lot of ideas, I guess, around it, and in general, that's probably after parachains are launched, and that basically everyone can create their own society and also DAO-like structure. I think there's a lot of room to be explored, and I'm not sure I can even put borders around it because there's many different options and solutions for it.
I think the idea of oracleizing and actuating in order to gain membership to a group, a collective, is in the same sense as the Kusama Society, is something that will, that is for sure something that can be repeated. I don't think it will necessarily be proof of ink, but for sure proof of some non-trivial action or deed in order to gain membership of a society and potentially continue membership of a society is something that, yeah.
In my view, what I would love to see, and just because that's the background I'm from and the stuff I do, is definitely something more in the almost technical realm for developers. And a large part of the ecosystem around Kusama and Polkadot is really developers. So having their own club where they can actually move things forward.
So you can imagine trying to develop a society whose purpose is to maintain and take care of the blockchain. And this society could, basically you could prove yourself your worth, like, hey, I'm a developer, hey, I'm a UX guy, hey, I can build websites, hey, I can maintain nodes or do DevOps stuff. And this society of people will get paid by the blockchain for continuing to maintain it. And their incentive basically to maintain the blockchain is basically keep the society alive, keep the blockchain alive. So this is one kind of system I can imagine in the future.
Society is something that will basically move away, and instead of people, for example, asking the treasury as individual, I can imagine that societies will ask for grants to the treasury, and the treasury will provide some funding to these societies that will be then able to self-organize and manage themselves without always involving the council.
It could be that we imagine a governance system which is more tied to society. For example, you can imagine right now in our governance system, everyone is an individual voting in governance. But what if instead of voting as an individual, you joined a society, you joined like a union or some kind of group, and the governance system kind of values your voice as a part of this group a little bit more than the individuals that comprise it, right? Like the sum of all the individuals is worth more than the individuals alone, right?
I would like Kusama to experiment a bit more when it comes to collective organization and the way identity can be built with different components of the network. So a lot more to see still.
I can imagine also, in some other kind of more relaxed societies, you could have, more traditional groups also represented on the blockchain. Things like, maybe your soccer team, or things like, your local debate club or stuff like that. Like, you can imagine where you can create groups that are not so like abstract, but are kind of like these very traditional, like people organized around one thing. And you can imagine like in a group, let's say like a soccer team, right? You want to set up a competition with the other local team. So you ask members of the society, okay, can everyone donate some tokens into this pool? We'll use this pool as part of our soccer team, and we'll buy new jerseys. We'll go, set up a competition. We'll rent a field, these kinds of things. And in this case, you can basically have an on-chain society where people kind of have privileges to participate and help this group of people grow. This isn't quite what we have on Kusama today, but I can imagine that this is definitely something that we could imagine existing on blockchains like Kusama or other blockchains in the future.
For me, the society needs to have a non-tech perspective. As a non-technical person, I think it's very, very important that we open doors for non-technical people to understand what these networks mean. And the society is a way for them to understand how they can make use of the treasury and to educate themselves on Kusama network, and to be part of a collective that will support them when it comes to experimentation between identity and technology.